All right, the conservative woman problem. I have a lot to say on this. I kind of talked about a little bit in the video I made about the male loser epidemic, but I'm basically gonna rehash everything in a more pointed way towards conservative women because there's a lot to say on the subject.
Are just completely broken. This has been the case for years now, and everyone's aware of it, but recently I feel like it's gotten so much worse than we even thought possible. And what's interesting is that now a lot of the strongest feminist messaging is ironically coming from the right wing, from conservatives, from these trad people, from Christian women, and no one wants to call it out. If you've been paying
How many surgeries did Anna Kasparian get? I'm not really a blonde type of guy, but why does she look like way more hot than before? Hold on. Wait a minute, I heard she got like a bunch of surgeries and whatever. Let's do 2015. Yeah, she looks like totally different now. And I heard that she's like moving more towards the right. Talking bad about lefty. I don't really I don't really care that much. Still liberal at heart. Not what I want, but so much for a feminist. I mean, I would think that feminists would be the last people to get like surgeries and whatever because, it's all about liberation, right? Just embrace who you are. The feminists do the most body modifications. I always thought that was weird. It's like contradictory to the whole premise of feminism.
attention, all of a sudden there has been this massive surge of conservative or trad women influencers popping up. And this all really started when the whole trad thing went.
Oh, I forgot. This was the funniest thing ever. So this is the whole trad thing, bro. So Ashley St. Clair, conservative influencer, got her cheeks clapped by Elon Musk, and now she has his kid, like his 13th kid, and there's a whole paternity thing going on. Like, like this is conservative. Actually, hold on. There's one tweet I found really funny from John Zerka. Yeah, I remember seeing this and it was really funny. I don't know if I'll be able to find it. Ah, this is a good one. This is so true. This is so true. Like, this is exactly how it is. Because the whole premise of like being a conservative woman is that you're supposed to be like low key. You're supposed to, not be loud. Speak when spoken to, be nice, etc. All these conservative women are always going outside. They're always doing interviews. They're making their opinions loud and clear. Like, it's very contradictory to the whole point of being a traditional woman. Like, conservative men want women that are out of the picture. It's just... it's just weird how it's so contradictory on a fundamental level. And a lot of them are... I don't like using the term grifter, because a lot of people use grifter in an unfair and dumb way. But I think it's the only word to describe a lot of them. They just want to be like, "Ooh, look at me! I can get views because I'm being like I'm appealing to male interests." Very few of them are actually interested in forwarding pro-women agendas. Like, yeah, they're anti-abortion, but that's it. Being anti-abortion was everyone like 80 years ago. It's not really that impressive. Yeah. So, Ashley St. Clair. And it's happening a lot more to them. Like, the whole conservative women's space is quite interesting.
Mainstream at the end of 2023, with women suddenly becoming based, trad, e-girls and stuff. And it's culminated in people like this girl, Tomi Lahren, who was a
Culminate. Tomi Lahren's been popular since like 2016. I remember she like blew up over covering, Trump's like first debate moment. debates and Republican primaries. She's been around for a while. She's always been kind of a blonde bimbo, but she has been around for a while. She didn't just spring up.
Fox News presenter. We've all seen the clip probably. Tommy Lauren recently, about a month or two ago, maybe a few months ago, goes on Fox News and tells conservatives that the problem today with dating and with relationships is not feminism so much as it is a lack of what she calls masculine men. We have a masculinity problem, she says. And at the same time, you have all these conservative men. People like Mark Driscoll, this Protestant pastor we've talked about before, who goes out and says that the reason there's this unignorable fertility crisis and marriage crisis, well, it's because there's not enough masculine men and the women have no options because you're playing video games and you need to man up. Luckily, though,
honestly, and this will be very controversial, I suppose, with people around my age. I'm 19, so a lot of people around my age won't like me saying this, but honestly, I mean, that side is far, not the one, okay, get the woman out of the picture, but the men calling for more like masculine men, it's true, okay? Now, you can argue that they don't help the case by just saying that and don't provide solutions. I would actually agree with that, and that's part of what I do, but to me, that's calling a spade a spade. And I'll let this guy kind of explain what angle he's going to take on this.
in the past,
But the angle is usually that, well, young men are getting screwed over and whatnot. And that's fine to state as a state of affairs. And that would be a good point to be charitable towards them. But, I mean, that's not really... It doesn't provide any solutions to the problem. But we'll see.
month or two, this is blowing up. This whole right-wing role-play thing has blown up. I even saw Shoe on Head did a video on it recently, calling out people like Tommy Lauren and actually addressing this growing issue amongst like conservatives. And why I think that the situation is actually worse for conservatives and right-wingers and Christians is because it...
Does she have a nose ring? Ew. Conservative woman wearing a nose ring. I don't know about that one.
is masked beneath layers of lies and obfuscations and dishonesty. And as a Christian myself, this stuff is totally counterintuitive to the faith and actually breaks biblical standards, so it needs to be called out. It is hypocrisy. So we'll just get into it. One of the big issues, the broad issues today, is that men are being increasingly told to...
This guy's really nervous. He goes... Seen that?
be called out. It is hypocrisy.
It is sped up.
So we'll just get into it. One of the big issues, the broad issues today,
kind of natural.
is that men are being increasingly told to man up and to quote unquote be masculine and become these essentially perfected beings. Yet the women are not being told to do really anything in return. And this is of course a uniquely conservative or right-wing issue. Young guys are being told that they need to become masculine and man up, and that that's what being trad is all about. And of course, the women are never told that they need to offer anything in return.
Okay, yeah, if this is an angle about the imbalance, I would actually agree, because remember the whole conservative space. I forgot this chick's name. It's like this blonde chick. Let me pull this up. Oh yeah, this chick. Okay, yeah, alright. Philip DeFranco, I don't really care about... Oh wait, I opened up the wrong tab. Okay, just do that. Yeah, Philip DeFranco. I don't know. Is Philip DeFranco based? I don't know. I haven't seen this guy's name since like 2016 with the YouTube Adpocalypse. That was a crazy time.
So it's been requested. Let's talk about trad wife TikToker Lily Gaddis. A trad wife, short for traditional wife, basically the idea that a woman's proper place is in the home, cooking, cleaning, while the man brings in the money. And Lily's been in the news recently because there was a video that she posted where she was chatting with her viewers about, quote, dumb whores, immigrants fresh off the boat looking for a green...
Dumb whores. So, I guess I'll just make this point and I'll watch this as it goes on. But here's the thing. Women are supposed to be, again, quiet, but they're also supposed to be very clean-mouthed, okay? No swearing, nothing rude, nothing mean, very nice sweetie pies, okay? That's how they're supposed to be. That's like the servant position. And then this chick comes in and says, dumb horse apparently, and nigga or niggas.
Green card as well as gold diggers, with it all then leading to this clip.
Everybody I know who's married right now, they're married to broke ass
Nigga. Yeah, so that's like a very potty mouth thing to say for a lady. Lady shouldn't say things like that. And the whole conservative space went like, oh my god, she is so based. Can I have your autograph? Can I buy your bathwater? Can I interview you for my podcast? They went insane. And I'm just thinking in my head, this woman represents literally nothing about conservative values. She's saying, she's using vulgar language as a woman. And we're going to platform and say, this is the conservative, beacon of femininity? Like, no. Like, doesn't make sense.
and they don't care. We don't give a about your money.
With that video blowing up, a lot of the responses going, what did she say? They're getting millions and millions of views until her TikTok got suspended. Right online, you saw tons of people super pissed off and disgusted, with Lily then responding with this video.
So a recent video of mine seems to have...
Okay, I don't care anymore. But yeah, just to prove a point.
And of course, this all came about once the trad thing, the trad meme from 2020 or 2021, started to go mainstream. And I knew this was going to happen, and a lot of other people did as well. The trad meme existed to prove a point. It was to prove, look at what we lost in our culture. And then it went mainstream. At the end of 2023, during this mass awakening, it went mainstream. And when it went mainstream, all of a sudden this idea of being masculine went mainstream as well. And everyone missed the point. And it's all a role play, it's all a LARP, it's fake. If you are conservative, if you've listened to any of that rhetoric, women like Tomi Lahren say they want a masculine man who is strong and a leader and self-sufficient and traditional and all this stuff. But at the same time, as you might have picked up, they also simultaneously do not want a traditionally masculine guy. They want a guy that they can control and that they themselves do not have to be traditional for in return.
Okay, if the angle seems to be like the imbalance and how, trad women aren't actually trad, I agree with that angle completely. I think in terms of the truth status of their statements, it's true. Men need to be more masculine, but they're not in a position to say that first because, well, they're a woman, okay? Don't ban me, YouTube. It's not hate speech. It's a joke. It's a joke. It's a joke. But in any case, it's also true that they don't embody the position, and the whole conservative movement seems to keep platforming women that aren't conservative. So, and the thing is, if a woman was conservative, she wouldn't be able to be platformed in the first place. She would be at home off of social media, So it's kind of the whole paradox here. It doesn't work.
And if you're wondering how that makes sense, it doesn't. And that's the whole point. And that's why nothing good is happening in those spaces. If you're a young guy and you were to embody what these people are saying you should be, you would become a contradiction. You're supposed to be rich and based and trad and masculine, but also listen to your wife's guidance and obey her, and she's never wrong, and don't tell her to stop doing things, and on and on and on.
Okay, yeah, I agree with this position, yeah. It's ridiculous. Because the whole point of being a trad man is, like, you're able to say no, stop, don't do that. Well, I'm going to do it anyways. Bye. I'll check.
And then you realize this is all just feminism using conservative buzzwords, which is why it makes no sense. And a lot of guys started to realize that about a year or two ago and pulled out of the whole game. But if you pay attention, these women like Tomi Lahren are never happy. Because on the one hand, these women today, these conservatives, in their heart usually do desire a masculine husband or a traditional boyfriend.
Every woman does.
But then in their mind, they also want to control him.
It's propaganda. And it's also partially a safety mechanism for women. They'll try and, make you all nice and cuddly. Not in a good way. More like in the way of, stop working out. Stop working so hard. Take more time off, etc. But in a way, one, it's kind of like a test, and two, it's kind of a way to secure you. But then women don't really like you anymore because now you're a loser. So it's partially biological, it's partially brainwashing propaganda.
But then if they control him, they lose respect for him. But then if they want to control him more, they need to do that again. And it's this endless.
Another nose ring. Why do you have nose rings? Why do women do this to themselves? It just looks so terrible. My God, I'm gonna have an aneurysm here about the nose rings.
Cycle. And as a result of this whole contradiction, what a lot of young guys have started to ask online and really caused this big stir
Ashley St. Clair.
over is, if that's what trad, quote-unquote, based Christian men are supposed to be and provide, what are the trad women supposed to provide in return?
Virgin, clean, not posting themselves on the internet, no alcohol, no drugs, a sweetie pie, likes cute things, likes little babies, stuff like that. That is what we need. That's what we need to exemplify. No more Ashley St. Clair getting her cheeks clapped out of marriage by Elon Musk. No Tomi Lahren and her covert feminism. No, what was the other chick's name? No blonde chick on TikTok saying nigga. That's what we need. Okay? Not this all such stuff.
Well, yet again, if you listen to a lot of these big church leaders or these conservative commentators, they do not affirm that women necessarily need to provide anything in return. Women are not taught that marriage is in some sense transactional. They're taught that dating and marriage is essentially this game where all of the guys compete for you, where you pick the favorite guy, he needs to listen to you, and you don't need to provide him with anything. And if he even doesn't shape up for a second, you file for divorce, which as a Christian is actually a serious sin. Yet so...
Is the TradCon space actually that bad? Because I'm kind of agreeing, they take this, men should do this and whatever when they're a lady, but do they actually say that? I mean, I'm kind of out of touch with all that stuff because, I'm actually intelligent. I don't scroll Twitter for 12 hours a day, but if that's the case, wow. Also, is she Jewish? No, she has she's quite the schnauzer on her.
Few people seem to care. They're not told to embody feminine Christian values, even in the church, in the same way they are telling men to embody biblical...
Yeah, like all these panels with women in the church. I mean, have we forgotten what... Hold on. So, have we forgotten? Pull up two of them. I do not permit a woman to teach or to assume authority over a man. She must be quiet. The next one. For Adam was formed first, then Eve, and Adam was not the one deceived. It was the woman who deceived and became a sinner. The woman will be saved through childbearing, the continuing faith, love, and holiness with propriety. So, all these panels of women in church. I mean, let's pull this up too. Let your woman keep silence in the churches, for it is not permitted unto them to speak, but it is commanded to be under obedience, as also saith the law. And if they will learn anything, let them ask their husbands at home, for it is a shame for women to speak in the church. And some liberal scholars have taken this to be like at the time or whatever, but it doesn't get more clear cut than that. Okay, and It has nothing to do with, and I've heard, like, I remember one time I brought this up to a pastor, and he said, and he had female pastors in the church, and he said, well, that verse was because the women in Corinth were being, confusing everyone. But in Timothy, Paul literally said it was because of what happened at the times of Adam and Eve. And it's even reflected in Genesis. The woman said, I will greatly multiply your sorrow and your conception. In pain you shall bring forth children. Your desire shall be for your husband, and he shall rule over you. It's very clear what the Bible teaches about this. This whole tradcon Christian thing, it's completely contradictory. Like, you're supposed to be, that's what it says. If you don't like that, then, go wave around a pride flag and your female liberation stuff.
Male virtues, biblical virtues commonly attributed to men. In fact, a lot of younger Christian women actually embody the sins that the Bible says come from the fallen nature of women. Gossip, slander, rebellion, manipulation, and specifically for Christian Protestants, not even abiding in what the scriptures say women should do in church, which is dressing modestly, being patient, not leading men. And it's a similar story with actual temperamental attitudes. Young guys are being told that they need to outwardly act like this knight in shining armor, abiding by these Christian ideals of manhood, which I think is good, but of course they leave out stuff like leadership roles for men in relationships and all of that. They demonize men's willingness to discuss controversial things in politics or society. They tell men they can't have these guys-only spaces to hang out. It has to be co-ed. There's always all this nagging. And worst of all, if you're a young guy...
The nagging is the worst part. Like, getting nagged by a woman is just like... That's a joke. That's not going to age too well, is it? One day, I'm gonna have a lawyer. He's going to go through my streams and whatnot, and that's going to pop up. That's funny.
They try to...
But it's also kind of not a joke. There's a few women that I've seen in relationships that are very disagreeable, very argumentative. And I always say, to myself, and I've said this to other people, if I ever get into a relationship with a woman like that, she's either going to stop doing that, or I'm going to end up in jail for domestic violence. Oh, God. It's true. Okay? I'm not going to try and sugarcoat it. That's true. I just can't do it. Because the only person allowed to nag me is my mom. Okay? If you're not my mom, you can't nag me. That's the rule. If you try nagging me, you're not my mom, I get very angry. Okay? Because it's just so annoying. It's like I'm thinking all the way up here, and I think down here, and I'm like nagging, like, why didn't you do this? Why didn't you do that? And you feel like, oh. But yeah, back to the video.
Suppress this desire for heroism and strength because that might be offensive, because young guys are very motivated. So really, they're lying. They don't actually believe young men should act like men. They believe in some abstraction. It's not real. And they call it trad. But it isn't. It's not trad, and it doesn't even exist. It is fake. And I've seen a few, you've probably seen it as well, a few guys in this space have been talking about that recently, and I resonate a lot with what they're saying. The opposite of that is true for these conservative women when it comes to attitude and temperament. These women today almost never embody what they claim to stand by and practice about attitude. They do not offer the traditional feminine elements of marriage. Most of them do not want kids or family, or they defer from it. They don't want to actually listen to their husbands or boyfriends, despite claiming they want a leader. They don't offer these apparently trad women attributes like cooking or being soft-spoken or withholding from stuff like gossip. And worst of all, they are initiating all of these
Yeah, and if you're a chick hosting a news show, we see all these news chicks I'm a news. I do the news. I'm a woman. I do the news with my little girl suit. This guy's doing this and this girl's doing this, whatever.
Full
It's literally a
divorce.
whole gossip fest. Okay? And it's like, what are you doing? You know, kitchen. It's so funny because they're the conservative woman. They're still being have to be told kitchen. You know, it's crazy.
Is over nothing, which is considered a serious sin as a Christian. And this is why I think this whole trad thing is a LARP. It is a role play. It is hypocritical, it is fake, and it is being used to once again push this counterintuitive, feminist, like crypto
What is
feminist
she wearing, like, is that a dress or it looks like a suit, like the shoulders are padded. Ew.
messaging amongst conservatives and right-wing people and Christians. These trad LARPers say that they believe in male authority in marriage or headship over the family and that being traditional.
Oh god, that guy looks like a geek, bro. I hate the polls for that reason, but I just can't ignore it.
But then in practice, the guys do not have any actual authority in the marriage or in the relationship or in church. In fact, the only binding authority in these modern conservative marriages are the no-fault divorce laws. And that was exemplified, I think, about a year or two ago with Steven Crowder's wife, who claims to be trad. She's trad, but she publicly divorced Steven Crowder over him telling her that she couldn't do particular things. And it was on video. He said a few things which she said sounded mean, and then she, apparently a Christian woman, filed for divorce.
Yeah, like that's completely antithetical to what Christianity says. Let me pull up. Let me quote Peter. Peter wrote about this specifically. Let me go. This. Okay. Wives, in the same way, submit to your own husbands, so that if any of them do not believe the word, they may be won over without words by the behavior of their wives. Let's do Paul as well. I don't know, one of them. Actually, did they? I don't know. I know this applies to the fact that, like, even if he's a bad guy, like in this case, it's literally saying is, even if he doesn't believe the word, even if he's not Christian, do what he says. So you're telling me if she's, oh, he told me to do a few things, that's mean. And then you're gonna divorce? That's the complete opposite of what you're supposed to do. Wives, submit to your own husbands as to the Lord. Complete opposite of divorce, bro. Literally the complete opposite. And yeah, if anyone's watching this, yeah, I was using this as an example of a performative male masculinity video. Don't worry about it. I do not like Aleister Crowley, but it is a good resource about learning about how those people conduct certain rituals and whatnot. But anyways, yeah, let's keep going.
And is that trad? You know, if a liberal did that, I wouldn't care. I'd just be like, hey, look, they claim that stuff. At least they're being honest. I disagree with them. At least they're being honest. And again, it's obviously not all of these conservative women, but the problem is I'd say it's more than 50%. And a lot of young guys are noticing this. And hence why it's becoming such a big issue. And you put all this stuff together and you have this weird situation where the man has no authority in the relationship. The woman does, but then the man must take responsibility for every single thing that happens in the relationship. Ever notice that? So when a woman cheats, they say that's the man's fault because he wasn't emotionally available or something. When a woman...
Okay, I think cheating ultimately is the man's fault, but it's not for the reason, like, because the thing is, like, if you just aren't, if you don't got it, put it like that. If you don't got it, then she'll be open to cheating. Okay, so if you get cheated on, ultimately you should own up to it. You didn't provide what you wanted. But at the same time, it does fall on the woman as well. Although it also falls on the man for picking a woman, such a woman that would cheat. So, but it is also true. I mean, if you're a woman that can even conceive of cheating, like you're also, yeah, it's not good. Oh, look, it's Mark the Baller. Yeah?
Woman decides to divorce for no reason, a sin in Christianity, it's the man's fault. Because, I don't know, maybe he should have manned up or something. Or he couldn't provide. Or if the woman becomes feminist, or these crypto feminists, they say, oh, well, that was the man's fault because the man didn't lead her properly. When women are not getting married or having children, to such an extent that we have this unprecedented fertility and marriage crisis, well, that's also apparently the man's fault.
I think it is. Okay, and this is where I kind of diverge. And this is actually where I would agree with people like Andrew Tate, Myron Gaines, etc. I actually agree with them on this point. Here's the thing. Attraction and the will to make babies is largely biological. Meaning it's largely up to the human nature, which in some ways can't be dealt with. It's kind of like, okay, you like boobs. Now stop liking boobs. Now, especially someone like me, that's never changing. Okay? In the same way, it's just true that most men aren't what women would want. So, you're basically asking women to completely do a 180 and then be with someone that they don't really find, like, fulfilling to them. So I don't think that's fair. Okay, so I do think ultimately it's the man's proposition, because if you're going to be conservative, if you're going to be right-wing, you have to state that women learn from men. Women submit to authorities. It's either men that are authorities or the government's the authority who push propaganda schemes. Actually, let me pull up something just to back that up a little bit. Yeah, let's pull this up. Not the website. It's a good website I found that had this thing. What happened to the website? There was a pretty good website that had... Oh, there it is. Okay. So, Gloria Steinem. Stein. Seems pretty Jewy to me, but CIA agent, literal CIA agent. Oh, she used to be pretty. This is what feminism does to you. Like, look how she's pretty here, and then here. Looks like a witch now. And don't give him, oh, she just got older. Listen, there's feminists age different, okay? Especially ones that sell their soul like this. But yeah, feminism. Yeah, you get all this stuff. So, yeah. Basically, the reason why they... Tate and Myron about this guy. Yeah, no, I would have to... I actually agree with them on this proposition. You can't really do anything about the biological desire. But yeah, women submit to whoever is the highest authority they perceive, and when men are weak, they become government. So I think if you're going to be conservative and you're going to take this presupposition, you kind of have to follow the consequence after. Now, it's also true that the solution to proposing doesn't work at all. So I would agree with this guy on more points than not.
Because, according to someone like Tommy Lauren, if men just manned up, whatever that means, according to her, then all of these problems...
According to her is a very important distinction there, because that makes what he's saying true. But if he didn't include that distinction, it would make what he's saying not true.
...would just disappear. Yeah, well, just one problem with that, that's all fake, that's all a lie. To bring this full circle and keep this a shorter video this time,
Is it? I mean, well, based on her position, it is a lie. But in general, like if you say man up in the sense of be more masculine, I don't know. And it's funny because I just did a performative versus essential masculinity video. We need more of the machismo. Okay, we need the machismo back. The machismo is a solution to all of this. Need a machismo culture. Alright? Because, I mean, let's see, 11:49 is where I'm at. Let's look at these dudes interviewing Ashley St. Clair. The chick that got her cheeks clapped by Elon Musk. A very conservative woman there.
Christian. And this is why it is pushed conservatives and feminists, like crypto-feminist messaging.
Is there any machismo here? Okay? Like, it's just, I can't justify telling women, even if they're very nice, good women, hey, submit to this guy over here. This guy's like the butt of all my jokes now, but, like, seriously. Like, come on. But let's be serious. Can't do it. Can't do it. That's very mean to women. That's a mean thing to do. So what we need more machismo. We need machismo energy. You know, we have to include like the psychological intelligent aspect of it. But we need the machismo, kind of like, shut up, you know, I'm a man, I look like a man, I'm a honk, etc. That's what we need. Okay? Because then it gives them no choice. Because then men are going to start saying, well, Tommy, you're a woman. Okay? So, first of all, what you say, I don't really care about. And second of all, you're not acting like a lady. Go somewhere quiet and only speak when spoken to. That's the energy we need. And we're not getting it from people like this. Excuse me, but that's true. There's also a joke, by the way. YouTube, don't ban me.
Protestant pastors who are up themselves in these mega churches shut this stuff down. They say women can be pastors. They detest anything that seems controversial or traditional. They hate stuff like nationalism, patriotism. They're just completely pacified. They worship women.
Yeah, exactly, and that's why we have the problem. We have a bunch of cucks. Okay, we need machismo. We don't need cucks. Too many cucks. No more cucks. Okay? We need to treat the word cuck like cock. Do you want a cock near you? No. So, apply the same thing to cucks. Want a cuck near you? No. Isolate them, put them on an island, put them on a strict training protocol, put them in concentration camps. Cucks need to be in concentration camp. That's funny. No, but seriously, we need to stop this whole, like, Christian, like, oh, I'm a Christian man. I wear a flannel, and, you know, I'm a really nice guy, you know, I remember the last time I went to a non-denominational church, and all of the men were just like, top of the morning. You know? And it's like, you're all like soy faces, bro. Like, can we get a little masculine, like a little machismo? You know, when I look at you, I'm like, oh, that guy's a man. That guy's like, you know, we don't got it. Too nice.
So for years, young guys have had nothing but these idiots like Mark Driscoll or these people from these big mega churches or these big conservative think tanks or wherever else berating them for not being good enough, while they go and worship their wives and worship women as these perfected beings that don't need to do anything. And all the young guys are just calling out. They're saying, hey, you are pathetic. Mark Driscoll, who gets up there in this stupid plaid shirt like he's Matt Walsh, then lectures young guys on how to be a simp for women, that's not cool. People are over that. All these conservatives and Christians who want to worship women and who are crypto...
Happy wife, happy life. That has to be one of the gayest sayings that has ever been uttered by a human. It's almost as gay as saying, oh, maybe I'll get lucky tonight with the wife. Ay. Yeah. This guy looks like a geek as well. You look like a geek. Alright? It's like Ben Shapiro. What did Ben Shapiro say that one time? Hold on, let me pull this up. Little Benny Shapiro. Wait, no. Wait, hold on. Can I find the... Oh my god, where is the... I can't find it, bro. Oh, whatever. I can't find the exact one, but let's just do this one. Oh, as I was also discussed on the show, my only real concern is that women involved, who apparently require a bucket and a mop, get the medical care they require. My doctor's wife differential diagnosis, bacterial vaginosis, yeast infection, or trichomonas, or whatever. Let's get that off. Okay, can we get this off the screen? Oh, Jesus Christ. I do not like putting sexual imagery on my streams or my videos. But, anyways. Because, you know, I know some of you guys are trying to be rehabbed gooners. You know, you're gooners and trying to stop goon. I don't want you to look at my content and, like, get triggered. But, in any case. Ben Shapiro was talking about how, like, oh, well, women are supposed to get wet. That's like a sign of a yeast infection. And this is what I'm talking about. Like, you're people like Ben Shapiro. You can't do it. You're pudgy. You look like geeks. I can't, in good faith, I can't, with a conscience, with a moral conscience, tell you to say that, oh, or tell you that, you know, women should submit to you. No, you're a loser, bro. You look like a geek. You're pudgy. Let's go. No?
Feminists, people are done with that stuff. You can't hide it anymore. Young guys see it. These women pastors as well. Young people are done with that stuff. That might have worked with millennials or Gen X, and it might have worked with these effeminate young adult, you know, Protestant pastors or worship leaders or whatever. But anyone who is
in church, singing with a baby, like, doesn't make sense.
switched on is calling this stuff out, and they're leaving. And it's not just the Protestants, it's the Catholics as well. And guess what? Same thing's happening. These Catholic women who are pretending to be trad but are like crypto feminists as well, people are calling it out. Young guys are calling it out. Not to get too serious, but in conclusion, if you're a Christian, this stuff is problematic. That's why I think a lot of people are passionate.
Yeah, it actually, this guy didn't start off that amazing, but it actually turned out to be pretty good. So